32 teams and definitely not 32 days ish. All right, guys. I know we're behind. Suck a dick. All right. This isn't our day job. All right. Tex goes out and sells drugs to kids, and
You pet little baby kittens.
yeah, there you go. There you go. I try to stop people from throwing bags of kittens with stones into rivers. That's what I do. You're welcome, ladies. Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to talk a little bit about their 2017 season, and then we're going to talk about what we think that they're going to wind up doing in the draft. If you didn't know, right now the NFL is absolutely insane with trades everywhere. It's just a smorgasbord of Tex and I texting each other. Oh my God, this person went there. Oh my God, this person went there. How in the fuck did this person get paid more money than this person? That's right. We're talking to you, Sammy Watkins, you dickbag.
Golly.
I know. Absolutely insane. All right, Tex, talk to me about the Rams. Let's talk about their 2017 season a little bit.
Well, it is March 13th, so, I mean, free agency has officially begun.
No, not until halfway noon tomorrow, technically.
Okay, well, I just took an Ambien. I thought it was tomorrow. Oh, it's funny. No, but to kind of recap on the 2017 season, I think everybody was pretty impressed with the way that Sean McVay was able to extract as much out of Jared Goff and the Rams team that he was dealt coming into the season. They had a pretty successful run, and they went into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they came up short, but I don't think anybody was really putting, Super Bowl or bust on the Rams just yet. In terms of free agents, they traded last year for Sammy Watkins, and while he did have 8 touchdowns on the season, he had less than 600 yards. So, it doesn't surprise me that the Rams, wouldn't re-sign him, and I think they would. Didn't they cut him today, or he signed? He was a free agent, signed with somebody else today, right?
Sammy, yeah, he signed with Chiefs, which is
Chiefs.
A very, very interesting move.
Yeah, and I think you have that move. You have the fact that Tavon Austin, they went ahead and cut Tavon Austin. So if you were to talk to us, 6 or 8 weeks ago, before all these moves started happening, it would be a little bit less clear of a picture on what their needs were going into the draft. But we're a little bit under 6 weeks away from the NFL draft, and the NFL Combine is wrapped up. Pro days are being scheduled right now. So I think going into 2018, some of their biggest needs are going to be, on the offensive side of the ball. They want to build off of what they built with Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp, their breakout slot wide receiver from UNC.
Did you say Slut?
And I think, wide receiver is definitely on the table. They need some interior linemen help to solidify that offensive line. And then obviously on defense, they just traded Alec Ogletree to the Giants, who needed help, and they traded him for a 4th and a 6th round pick. Pretty cheap, if you ask me, right? I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, they're making a lot of moves. I don't know if I necessarily agree with all of them, but they're moving. So it is what it is. But I agree with cutting Watkins and Tavon Austin, or trading. So
yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I feel like Sammy just never he's spent his whole career not really living up to the potential that everyone thought he had coming out of Clemson. Everyone was hoping that he and DeAndre would be kind of the shit. They traded for Marcus Peters. I like it. I think it's going to be kind of interesting. How do I say this? I think it'll be interesting seeing how Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, because Aqib Talib was also traded for, see how they interact in the locker room. They're both kind of rough and tumble, very emotional players. I think it could be good for the Rams defense, but we'll see how it works out. I am going to miss Alec Ogletree. I think he's a very gifted athletic. Yeah, he's a Georgia boy, very gifted athletic player. He just never quite got figured it out, and hopefully a new chance allows him to do so with the Giants, and they definitely need pieces, and I think he's a good athletic piece for that team that's lacking a lot right now. dealing Robert Quinn for a fourth and a sixth is, I don't know. I feel like they're going to start making some moves because right now I think they have 5 6-round picks, which is a lot of 6-round picks. I figure they could probably turn 2 of those into a fourth, another fourth. You think?
I don't know. I mean, 6 is really one of those picks where you just trade and kind of give it away.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be a part of some other things. And where they're picking 23rd in the draft, I feel like that's a pretty good spot to see them start going wide receiver with, the crew that's coming out this year. And Cooper Kupp's good. He's a very good slot receiver. So I feel like they're kind of, and especially because Tavon, not that Tavon was very important, but they're going to need some talent on, Robert Woods is really good. I think they need a number 1 wide receiver though. And I think that's maybe when you start getting into, 24, when you start, or 23rd, you start thinking about some of the burners that are coming out. I don't think Calvin Ridley fits there, right?
No, I mean, well, he does in the sense that he's a great route runner, and his route running tree is a lot deeper, I feel, than Cooper Kupp's, even though Cooper's been in the league for a year. I think they complement each other, and I think it's going to be tough when you look at Robert Woods because Robert is that deep threat. So you're going to look for, I think Ridley does, honestly, in my opinion, fit that mold. He's not as short as Cooper, and he's fast. Like I said, he runs really good routes, but it's just one of those things that Robert Woods is, I think he's in his 6th or 7th year in the league. So it wouldn't be a bad time to get, another 1B to Robert Woods 1A wide receiver like Cortland Sutton, James Washington, was it DJ Moore? So
yeah, DJ Moore's after the combine, he's definitely been rising up the charts.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the fact that is a prime location historically and out of necessity for the Rams to take a wide receiver. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. I also, think that they're putting a lot of Band-Aids on their defense through free agency and trading. So it wouldn't surprise me for them to take a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker somewhere at that position and have him learn behind Peters and Aqib Talib for a year and come in and take over the full workload in 2019 or at the end of 2018.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. It'd be kind of interesting to think about. Maybe they focus a little bit on the front 7. You think on that defense, considering some of the players that they given not given away, but Alec Ogletree is gone. Robert Quinn is gone. Maybe they look at kind of getting towards the next defensive ends, to pair someone on the line with Aaron Donald, or even if they really like another defensive tackle, maybe they spend it there. Maybe Marcus Davenport out of University of Texas, San Antonio. He's big, he's physical, and he really showed up at the Senior Bowl, and he did the same thing at the combine. And I think that it could be interesting for them to do that because, in that division, as of right now, you gotta have pass rush. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And when you have Aaron Donald, it makes sense to pair him up with somebody else to alleviate some of that stress that he's inevitably going to be getting, whether it's through double teams and whatnot. I just think that, again, when you have a team like the Rams they're kind of tipping their hat right now, March 13th, leading into free agency, and showing what their cards are. And by getting rid of Tavon Austin and Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson was just signed with the Chicago Bears. As far as talent out there, that is somebody that they could put, and go after. Jarvis Landry is with the Browns, so they don't have much draft capital that's valuable. Like you said, you had a ton of 6-round draft picks, but nothing really in the front part of the draft. So it would make sense for a new coach. This is his 2nd year. He's got a 3rd-year quarterback, a 2nd-year star wide receiver, a 4th-year running back, to kind of go after that wide receiver when they drop, because it's looking like those wide receivers could be dropping in this draft. So
yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I think they've addressed some of the secondary losses that they've had so far with this the free agency period where we are as of right now. Who the fuck knows?
Don't forget about this though. They do have the genius on the defensive side of the ball. That's Wade Phillips. Now he is an architect of all-star defenses that are championship led defenses. And if you look at some of the moves that they've been making, these are hand-picked players by Wade Phillips that fit his scheme to make a solid run. And if you look at what they did, they gave up a second last year for Sammy Watkins, and Sean McVay was in charge of the offense. And they really did surprise a lot of teams, especially the teams in their division. I don't think anybody would have thought the Rams would have been as good as they were last year and win their division. So I look for Wade Phillips to make his money in free agency and through trades, and I look for Sean McVay to use his offensive genius on draft day in the first round, especially because as far as picks are concerned, I know you just said it, but they don't have a second round pick. So they're going to, and where they're drafting, I just don't see, there being a lot of value there to take, possibly a role playing outside linebacker or the fourth or fifth best defensive tackle. I really do see them going after a playmaker, somebody to pair up with Goff, who is going into his third year, essentially his second or sophomore year, because he essentially redshirted his first year. So it would be a great time to take a wide receiver, honestly.
Who are you thinking? Like Cortland or James Washington or one of those two?
I mean, honestly, I think I know it sounds crazy right now, 6 weeks from the draft. There's absolutely no way this would happen, but we say that every year that a player falls and it just lands into the right spot, and teams pick around the player that falls. But I mean, I could definitely see Ridley being a really good fit there for that team.
I think Sean. You're right. I think I was wrong earlier. Now that you mentioned it, you talk about it. I think Sean McVay could figure out a lot to do with Calvin Ridley and turn him into like an Antonio Brown, just with your really, your good, awesome route running that can do things with the ball after the catch. They could definitely go that way. And what's interesting? Harold Landry, senior out of Boston College.
Oh yeah,
he's a 3-4 outside linebacker. A lot of people have him falling to the second day now because of his kind of lackluster. He had an awesome junior season, and then he got hurt last season, and he came back, and he just wasn't quite the same. I definitely think that's somebody that they could look for in the in those the middle rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his stats, they really do jump off the page at you from his junior year. He could be one of those draft day surprises. I just think it really does have to come down to, with the Rams, who do they feel is the best player available and the best player that instantly can be plug and play and be an asset to their team. So
sure. I feel like it's going to be Harold Landry is going to be one of those guys that, come draft time when we're sitting there, looking, or we'll be there in Dallas. Will we be there for the second and third rounds?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And when we're there, we'll be like, holy fuck, this team got Harold Landry.
Yeah. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he does go in the second, because he just seems like one of those people that when you look back in, 2, 3, 4 years, you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe Harold dropped to the second and he was a part of, this team's run. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
I completely agree.
Great player. But that's what we think. I mean, heck, Seb, go ahead and tell them where they can find us on social media and hit us up and get a little interactive with us.
Yeah. I just want to give a big shout out to T Cotton 12. He gave us a very nice review on iTunes. He said, Seb is obviously the better podcast host, but Tex tries his hardest, and that's adorable.
Well, yeah.
I really appreciated that. I know. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. We're on all major podcast carriers: the Stitcher Podcast Addict, Google Play, iTunes, which is Apple Podcasts. You can find us on social media at twitter.com/thebackups, Instagram.com /thebackups, Facebook.com/thebackups. And guys, that's with the Z. If you haven't figured that out by now, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life, really?
If you don't know that by now, you will never know.
You've been listening to the Backups Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, find us on iTunes, and visit the website at www.thebackups.com with a Z for more.